Okay, welcome to another edition of Coffee with Kenny. Good morning.
Good morning.
So as we do several times a year, we solicit for questions of people that might not have made your union meeting or unit meeting or whatever, talk about things, and get questions from your members. So I got several questions here. I'm just going to fire away.
Okay.
As we sit here right before Memorial Day. So the first question, it's kind of a long one. It says, what would it take for us to change the type of retirement plan we have so we actually have more control over our retirement account? It's crazy that our retirement is 100% untouchable no matter what, even in a crazy pandemic like COVID. It took an act of Congress for someone to pull the money out. Pretty much every local in the country has the ability to take a loan against their retirement and just straight up pull the money out. I think it's something that should be definitely talked about, and hopefully something will change somehow.
That sounds more like a 401k, what they're describing. You can take loans on a 401k, which is really just an ad hoc savings account. Pension, what we have, is there for when you get to the correct age to retire. I mean, that's what it's for. It's not a savings account. You should be able to put that away and know you can't touch it until 55. Because, life expectancy is longer now. So when you get ready to retire, you want to be able to live.
Right.
So if we were just hitting, drawing out of it, it's just not that type. It's a pension. It's not a 401k. Yeah. So we're a money purchase pension plan. So it's just not in there. You'd have to go a whole different direction to offer all that. Per the federal guidelines, per board of trustees would have to negotiate it. Look, we've been saying for years, don't live outside your means. Put your money up. Base your pay off of what you make every week. Don't get outside your means. That's the worst thing we can do. You get outside your means, that can be used against you as a tool to make you work 70 and 80 hours a week to break down our conditions as a union. But you can't. I mean, it's a money purchase pension plan. It's for when you retire. If you want to be able to take loans on it and all, we need to look at a 401k. We can change that. But that, in my mind, that's one of the downfalls of America is doing away with long-term pensions and going to a 401k. So,
yeah. Maybe it'd be a good idea to come to one of those retiree luncheons and see
for
all
sure.
Your retirees.
100%. Yeah.
They seem to be.
I mean, we got folks retiring with that pension with $1.8 million.
Yeah.
It doubles every 8 years. If you just look at the compounding interest definition, you don't want to retire with $50,000 in the bank. And that's what you lead to if you're pulling out of it all the time.
Even if you could pull that stuff out.
Yeah, it's not.
The tax penalties are so brutal.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. All right. So next question is, do we have a court ruling yet or an indication of when we'll know? I guess he's talking about.
Yeah, well, we're in a public forum, so, community's going to see this. It's ongoing.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm going to say about that.
Okay.
There's a time and place for those questions in an open forum that's going to be put out on social media. This is not the place.
Okay.
Come to a union meeting, call me, come down and see me. That's the forum for that, but not on a public forum where we're putting this out.
Okay, fair enough. All right, next one, and I guess we had 8 or 10 people ask this, so I just kind of combined it into one question. What's going on with IBEW Family Night at Six Flags, and also what's up with IBEW Braves Night at Truist Park?
So Family Night's going to be August 23rd, 90 days out.
August 23rd.
We'll see if we can't, August the 23rd, see if we can't get a countdown to Family Day. So that's going to be Friday, August 23rd. It's narrowed down to 2 venues. So Kevin's still in negotiations with 2 different venues. As soon as we get the information and get it finalized, we'll send out a text blast. We'll send out email blast. We'll put it in the live wire. So there again, make sure all of your contact information's up to date. Your cell phone, if you got a new number, you need to let us know. Update it in IB Working so we can push out that information to you when it comes out. And, of course, it'll be on the website and also down to 2 venues.
Okay, cool.
And then the Braves Night, we're going to do it next year.
Okay.
We want to get more bang for our buck, so you'll get a little bit more money on your card, on your ticket,
on the voucher,
to be to where you can actually buy some merchandise next year.
Cool.
You know, if you don't want to eat, there'll be a larger amount on there. You can go to the Brave store, buy a shirt, hat, whatever you want. So we're going to do it next year.
Or feed the whole family.
That's right. Feed the whole family.
Right on. Okay. Next question. And this was kind of a disjointed question, so I distilled it down to this. This is a question for Coffee with Kenny. Do you think we'll see any job site incentives like extra pay to come here and fill the jobs in this jurisdiction?
I do. We're already seeing some. Night shift differentials. You know, I have a contractor that reached out to me the other day. They're paying 20% at the airport. I have another contractor that is paying the 3.17 at the airport because they got more than one shift. They have two shifts. And so they're paying 3.17, which is that third shift, you get 15%. You work 7 for 8, but they're putting $3 on the scale. So on your hourly rate, your normal base rate, they're paying $3 more than journeyman wireman scale. And then they're paying you the 15% on the night shift, and you're only having to work 7 for 8. So that's going on. I think we'll see some more eventually. But what's kind of disheartening, there's been some information that's got back to me. We had a GC that wanted to pay more money, and one of the superintendents with the EC told him, "Nah, we're not going to do that." So I think eventually we will. But that's disheartening to hear. I didn't like hearing that we had a superintendent tell a GC we're not going to create that chaos and pay more money on this project. But eventually, because it was site specific, the GC for this site wanted to pay more money. But naturally, the employer has people on different sites that wasn't going to get that benefit, that more money. But let the folks on that job get it. Help who we can help. Don't be of the mindset, no, we're not letting anybody get it. If you're on that job site and they're paying more, let our guys get the money. Especially when the GC, the customer's saying they're going to pay, and you stifle it and say no. That's ridiculous.
All right.
But the answer is yes. I think we will. I think we'll see some.
Okay. This last one is a little bit of a longer question. And before I ask this question, I wanted to touch on there's an amped event coming up for apprentices.
Yep.
Talk about that a little bit.
That's June 13th.
Okay. 6/13 day.
6/13. Yep. 6/13 day. So June 13th is coming up. 6/13 will be amped
at the hall.
Here at the hall.
Okay.
Yep. At the auditorium. And that's a resource to help apprentices, to help CWCEs, any sub journeyman. It's there. Apprentices mandate progress every day, but it's for everybody.
Okay.
We get together. We get to talk about things that's going on in your life. The last amped, we had a real estate professional come in, talked about, loans you can get, federal loans for first-time homeowners, other grants you can get for low-income, low-wage employees. So that was good. And then we always eat and fellowship together and hang out. Look, great energy with that group. I mean, the future for 6/13 in our jurisdiction, we keep that core group together. I think we had 210 people show up to the last one, which that's good.
Yeah.
That's really good. Union meetings. I mean, our union meetings, we're having, average 350, 385. I think we ordered for 450 this last union meeting, and we probably had 30 or 40 meals left over. So really good. But group, they're very, very passionate. They're coming to union meetings as well. So I think our union meetings, 50% of them is apprentices, which is good. That's what we tried to cultivate.
Yeah.
Because they are the future. Speaking of pensions, I want them to keep working so they can fund my pension. They can fund the people that comes in after them's pension, and then the people that comes after them will fund their pensions. That's the way this works. Our brothers that's retiring, their pensions are funded by what we do and how we go to work every day and what we put in. So NEBF.
So, we have a lot of new members coming to the union members and being sworn in, but lately you had an astronomical a number of people, and the membership is talk about the growth of the membership, if you would.
Last union meeting, we've been averaging 65 new members a month on average. Last union meeting, we had 104. In 2017, October of 2017, we had 3,392 members in 613. Now we have 5,864.
Wow.
That's almost 100% growth. Almost.
It's pushing 6,000 members.
That's pushing, and here's the glory of it. It's help. It's brand recognition, getting our name out, marketing, things like this that Union Up does that we do together. All of our campaigns, Georgia Electrician Wanted. It's just a funnel. It's just funneling people to our site.
Right.
Our ads on the Braves commercials. I've had over 70 people call just from our Braves advertisement that we done this year.
Yeah.
That's just a small number. That's just one piece.
That's the people that actually pick up the phone.
That's the people that actually picked up the phone and called and said, hey, I want to be part. And I think we're going to see more than that.
Yeah.
As the season goes on, the Georgia Bulldog campaign. Everybody doesn't go to college.
Right.
So that brand marketing and just working it. We have to sell unions in the South.
Yep.
Being in the right to work state, you have to sell it. They think we're the big bad, we're the most misunderstood organization.
Right.
And so, but yeah, that's huge growth. I think it goes to the team that I have working, the membership development team, the reps that work on that downstairs on the second floor. It's just all of us pulling in the same direction. Members telling friends and family, and it's graduation time. I can remember I graduated in 1996, and I didn't want to go to college. I was finished with school.
Right.
And my cousin owned an electrical company. That was union. That was signatory. I never knew that. And so we were at a graduation party, my graduation party. He said, what are you going to do? I said, I don't know. I ain't figured it out yet. I said, but I'm not going to college.
Yeah.
He said, you need to come work for the IBEW. So that's how I got here. So tell people graduating, tell them about us. And that's showing that we're doing that. It's proof with our numbers.
Yeah.
There's not been
Is there
another.
any other local union that's doubled their membership in 6 years?
There may be. I don't think there may be some that had, a smaller local that had 300 people and then got, 100 people. Mm-hmm. But I know in 613 there hasn't been an administration in the last 100 years that's grown the membership like this administration.
Yeah.
It just hasn't. Nobody's had to deal with the growth problems like we're having to deal with them.
Yeah.
Because when you grow, it takes more to give them the actual representation that they need.
Right.
But we're proud of it, though. That's what we want. We want everybody doing electrical work to be union.
Yeah.
Roughly increased market share. 250,000 man hours is 1% of market share. In 2017, we were at 8,175,000 man hours. Mm-hmm. We were at 10.5 last year.
Yeah.
It's about an 8% market share increase if you do the numbers based off the 250 per 1%.
Yeah. Well, and of course, we're right here at the graduation time. And as I understand it, you yourself had a graduate this week.
I did. Yeah, me and Christy, we were talking 2 days ago. And it just seems like he just started elementary school. So my youngest, Kel, graduated from North Cobb. So cherish these times. It goes by so quick. Brothers and sisters that have the younger ones, that 9 years old to like 13, you feel like it's a abyss that's going to last forever. It doesn't, I promise. We were talking, she was like, 4 years from now, we'll be saying it feels like he just graduated high school. Yeah. So, yep. Scholarships, that brings up the scholarships for our seniors that's graduating. Get your scholarships into Tanya. You got to send their full transcript to get the first part of the scholarship. Got to write an essay. Reach out. It should be online. IBEW613.org. You can find the information on it. But if you have a graduate, tell them to send in for the scholarship.
Yeah, and congratulations to all the members whose kids have graduated this May. I've got one that's 1 year away. So I'm both looking forward to that and not looking forward to that at the same time. Okay, so speaking of people turning out as apprentices and CEs, this last question says, why can I not use my GI Bill toward courses I have to take as a CE? It's a slap in the face to those It's a slap in the face that those benefits are not accepted. I took a pay cut to join the IBEW as a CE. Paying for my classes is really cutting my budget thin. Are there any plans to address this with international office? Apprentices have the ability to use those benefits if they're veterans.
Yeah. So that's a tough one. Number one, thank you to all our veterans. We're also coming up on Memorial Day weekend. So, for all of our armed forces and people who have died in service, that's what this weekend's about. So thank you for your service. Unfortunately, we need to figure out how we can use the GI Bill money for CE and CW program. They only use it. It comes from the federal government and the VA. It has to be a registered apprenticeship, and so the CE and CW program is not a registered apprenticeship. And now it's another pathway to journeyman wireman. But it not being a registered apprenticeship, you can't use those GI funds for any of that.
Okay.
Same way as like they can't work on a federal Davis-Bacon job. It has to be an apprentice. Like CWCEs can't work on some of those projects too.
Okay.
So, but we can definitely put that as something that we need to start trying to advocate for and get with the VA and see if there's something we can do to kind of work around that or get that added somehow, because I get it. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. Come to AMPT. There's some minimal resources we can do to try to help you. If you come to the union meetings, get with us. We'll do whatever we can. We understand it's very, very tough. I got a member that reached out the other day that's a second-year apprentice that he's going through the same stuff. We get it. Also, there's other avenues. I'm working with the city of Atlanta. I mentioned 2 union meetings ago, working with the city of Atlanta, John Flanagan, who is the labor superintendent for Mayor Dickens. And there's going to be a little bit of money. It's a finite, it's not an infinite amount of money. It's a finite amount, but to get some of our apprentices. So really good relationship there. So we're trying to do things through WorkSource and with the city to where we can get you some money for people who need it to do that. But as far as to answer that question, when we come on these forums, I always want to answer the questions, even though if it's not the answer that you like. I want to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And it's the VA.
Well,
the VA doesn't accept it because it's not a registered apprenticeship.
Yeah, it sounds like that's at a federal level more than an IBEW level,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I mean, in other words,
yeah,
it's not
for sure.
it's not
It is.
specific to this trade
It
or
is.
whatever. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Last thing I wanted to ask you was about the looking out into the future. The last coffee with Kenny, you and I talked about some of the legislation that had been on the table, and one of those things is House Bill 1192 that got vetoed. That was kind of going to potentially put a clamp on some of these big data projects, and that got vetoed, and that really kind of, I mean, there's so much of that work. Could you talk about, before we leave, just sort of what's going on in the marketplace right now in terms of work and that kind of thing?
Yeah, so we have over 100 open jobs here for journeyman wiremen. We don't have enough people, but that was huge. And the way that process worked, when that House Bill 1192 came out, I was trying to figure out and wrap my head around, like, why were they trying to do this? So many businesses are moving here to Atlanta.
Yeah.
So many. I mean, just by the droves. Number one is because we have power. Vogel just came online. So they know they can get power for these data centers. But when that bill hit, I could not figure out why the governor and they would want to stop this progress.
Yeah.
But now it's clear. So the Public Service Commission, it was based around power, because we were, even with Vogel coming up, we're still on a thin line.
Yeah. I mean, these data centers take a massive amount of power, right?
That's correct. And Yates wasn't approved yet because the Public Service Commission was in hearings trying to get approval, or, you know, deciding whether they were going to build Yates, because they're going to build 4 simple cycle units at Yates. But that wasn't 100% confirmed at the time.
Forgive my ignorance. Is Yates in our jurisdiction?
Yeah, it's in our jurisdiction. It's in Whitesburg. It's Coweta County.
Okay.
And so it's going to be 4 units of simple cycle gas coming in, and it's going to generate some more power.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't know if it was 100% going to be a go. So during session, they were like, well, we don't have power. You know, we're closed. We can't do it. We need to stop these businesses from coming in. Well, then Yates got approved. But that brings up another whole issue. Well, once Yates is built, it's supposed to be finished mid-28, 29, so it's going to be a lot of man hours for us. We got to do something. You know, we got to get a small modular reactor here, hopefully in Stewart County. That would be nice.
Yeah.
But in our jurisdiction, I mean, there's all kind of rumors flying around out there about new things going to be built, generation plants. But it's one of those, talking to my counterpart, Drew Stover at 84, and some other folks in our business, it's kind of scary. Christmas time, everybody better call IBEW and let us put you a generator in before Christmas, because when we get right there at peak, it's going to be interesting.
So, with everybody's lights on.
For sure. Yeah. But so that's why all that happened.
Yeah.
There's so much work. There's so many substations being built, you know, all the switching and what we're doing. It's just a bunch of work right now, which is a good thing for us. And in Atlanta, Atlanta's going to continue to grow. We got the busiest airport in the world. We have 600 people at the airport, IBEW workers, over the next 18 months. So as a city, as a whole, I think it's the best city in America. We are progressing, and people are just flocking to us. So that's a good thing. Just gives us more opportunity, the IBEW, to be able to get our exposure, get our name out, and change the reputation that people have about unions, especially here in the Deep South.
Well, I appreciate you being available to your members, and this concludes another Coffee with Kenny. I hope everybody has a happy Memorial Day and safe, and looking forward to the summer.
Yep.
Cheers.
See ya.
And we're out.